Okay, so we're on to June 2013, paper 1. These are the actual grade boundaries again here, not Jones' challenge boundaries. So you can see that 9 marks will actually get you into the G grades. Okay, so hopefully the sort of first couple of pages now you're getting very familiar with. Write down in figures. I need to zoom this in. Hold on. That's probably too much. Come back out. Okay, write down in figures the number 32,056. So working backwards, the unit is 6. Next comes 56. Next would be the hundreds. There are no hundreds, but there are 2,000s and 30. So 32,056 would be that. Write down in words this number. So it's 2. There's no tens, hundreds. There's 102. There's no thousands, but there are 10,000s. So 10,102. And you're writing it down in words. 10,102. And oh, there we go. I nearly wanted to write the digit there. Okay, so 10,102. Using only the numbers in the following list. Now that's important because a few of the papers that I've marked, you're just picking your own numbers. For each of these 1, 2 and 3, you're picking numbers from that list. So you're looking for 2 numbers that have a sum, which means add together to make 67. So you're looking for numbers with the end digits that add up to 7. So 4 and 8 don't. 4 and 3 do. So 43, 44 and 13 is 40, 57, so it's not those two. We got a 44 and a 23, that's it, 44 and 23. 2 numbers that have a difference of 29, so when you take them away, you're left with 29. So in order for it to end in a 9, the unit number has to be 1 smaller on the bigger number. Not making myself clear there, but if we take a look, 4 take away 8, well, you do 48 take away 44, the end digit's going to be 4. 44 take away 36, no. 48 take away, they're not very big to get a 29. It's going to be 36 take away something, or the 40s take away something. And you just got to go through until you find it. So if you do 41 take away 12, you've got the 1 take away 2. It's those two, it's 41 and 12. 29 and 12 is 41. That's the other quick, probably better way of doing it, is to say, okay, what number up there must I add to 21? Sorry, what number up there? I'll not make myself clear there at all. Keep trying until you get there. What number up there, if I add to 29, will give me another number? So if you take 12, add 29, it gives you 41. That's basically it. Anyway, a square number. So you square numbers, the numbers you get when you multiply something by itself. So 2 times 2 is 4, so 4 is a square number. 16 is a square number because 4 fours is 16, and the square number there is 36 because 6 6s are 36. 1C, write down correct to the nearest 10. So the nearest 10 is the 10 column, which is the 1. So you're either going to be writing 6510 or 6520. So it's either 6510 or 6520. It's 18, so it's nearest to 20, so you're going to be writing down 6520. To the nearest 1000, it's either going to be 6000 or 7000. Because it's 518, it's nearer to 7000. All the factors of 18, all the numbers that go into 18 exactly, so put them in pairs. You've got 1 and 18, and you've got 2 and 9, and you've got 3 and 6. Each of the digits 6, 1, 3 and 4 is used once to make a 4-digit number. What is the smallest number that can be made? So for the smallest number, you want the biggest digits to be in the units and the tens, and the smallest digits to be in the higher power columns. So you're going to basically want to write them in order, smallest to largest. So it's going to be 1, 3, 4, 6. The largest even number, well, usually the easiest thing to do is to write the largest number and then see what switches you have to make. So largest number would be that in reverse. So it would be 6, 4, 3, 1. But because it has to be even, you have to have an even digit there. So you would need to switch that to, or you need to have that, sorry, you need to have the even digit there and then shuffle the other ones along. So for even number, you want the 6, the 3, the 1 and the 4. So you move that there because it has to be there, but then you want that in the next most powerful column. So that is the answer that you're looking for. So for that, pretty much 1 mark for each bit. For D, you would have 1 for any 4, 1 for the rest, 1, 1. Question 2, write down the next terms. You're looking to see what's happening. It's going down, so it's probably subtracting 6, 9 take away 3, 6, 6 each time. So the next one is going to be 17 take away 6, which is 11. For this one, it's going up 4, then it's going up 5, then it's going up 6. So the next one is going to go up 7. So the next number is going to be 34. What is the value of the 8 in the number 78,431? So the 8 is in the thousands column, so its value is 8,000. Right, 3/4 is a decimal. Quarters are the things, one set of fractions you need to know the equivalent. A quarter is 0.25, 3/4 is 0.75. To write 77% as a decimal, it's the same as thinking that you're writing 77 pence, but having to write it in terms of pounds, which would be 0, and you'd have the pound sign 77. This now means that you've got these 3 numbers in decimal form. You've got 0.73, 0.77, 0.75. Ascending order means smallest to largest, that you're going up. So in decimals, you'd be going 0.73, then 0.75, then 0.77. But you need to put them in the same form you were given them. So 0.73 was how you were given it. 0.75 you were given as 3/4, and 0.77 you were given as a percentage. showing all your working, find an estimate. So they don't want you to use those numbers, they want you to make life easy for yourself. So you're going to round the first one to 100, and you're going to round the second one to 20 and get an answer of 2000. So what we got for that? 2A, 1 for each, 1 for that. For part C, you're going to have 1 for the 0.75, 1 for the 0.77, and 1 for putting them in the right order. And for here, this, you're going to have 1 for the method of the rounding and 1 for the answer. Question 3, formula question. Word formulas, same in all the papers that we look at. So the value of the term is 7 times the number of the term, which is 9, add 4. We work out the multiplication first. So 7 9s are 63, add the 4, 67. And then the second part, you've always got to do a bit more work. Substitute everything in. So the value this time they're telling you is 88. 7 times the number term, we don't know. Rather than writing number of the term, I'll just call it n, and the value of the plus 4. So just like solving an equation, then the first thing that you have to do is get rid of the add 4. Get rid of an add 4, you have to subtract 4. You have to do that to both sides. 88 to take away 4 is 84, is 7 times n. To get the n on its own, you would do the opposite of times it by 7. The opposite of times it by 7 is dividing by 7, which in algebra we write like that. And 84 divided by 7 is 12. So n is 12. 1 for the method, 1 for the answer, 1 for the method, 1 for the answer. You should be really familiar with those now. Question 4, again this comes up pretty much every paper one. 50 pupils are asked to choose one sport from rugby, soccer, hockey or tennis. Here are the results. Using the grid on the opposite page, draw a bar chart for the data given. So the first thing you need to do is group that data, and the easiest way of doing that is with a tally chart. So the sport is rugby, soccer, hockey or tennis. Then we'll tally it, and then we'll come back and count them all up. And as I've said time and time again, when you're doing the tally, mark them off as you're going so that you know that you've counted that. So R, T, S, H, R, H, R, T, R, S, R, group in fives, so that one goes across. H, R, S, H, H, R, S, R, R, T, S, H, H, T, S, R, T, S, R, S, T, R, T, H, R, H, H, S, H, H, T, R, 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 S, H, H, S, So then you total them up, and that's called the frequency. So 5, 10, 15, 16 rugby, 5, 10, 12 soccer, 5, 10, 14 hockey, and 5, 8 tennis. And to check that you've got them all, it tells you that there were 50 pupils. So when you add those up, hopefully it comes to 50. If it isn't, I've gone wrong and I've got to go back and do it again. So 16, 28, 38, 42, 50. I've got my 50, so I'm safe. Okay, then you need to draw that. Now what you need to do is fill your graph as much as you can. So you want to check the scale to see whether you go up in 1s or 2s or 5s. Now the biggest number up is 16. So have you got 16 squares? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You have, so the best thing to go up in is 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You need to label your axes. This one is frequency, and this one then is going to be the sport. You've got 4 bars to draw, and there should be gaps between them. So the first one is rugby, and it goes up to 16. So I'll start that here. My usual warning to you to use a pencil in case you go wrong. I hope I won't. And use a ruler for your bars. So that's rugby. Then I'm going to leave a gap, and I'm going to do soccer. Which takes me to 12. Then I'm going to leave a gap, and hockey is 14. And finally tennis, which is 8. So those are my bars. They're all the same width, which is important, and there are gaps between them. You won't get penalized if you don't put gaps, but there should be gaps. And I need to label this axis, which is sport, choice of sport. The mode is the one that occurs most frequently, which in this case is rugby, because it's chosen by 16, which is more than anybody else. So the marks for that, you get 2 marks for correctly totaling up your data. Then you've got 2 marks for the label and the scale, and 2 marks for having the bars at the right height, and 1 mark for rugby. Question 5. 3 overlapping rectangles, each 8 by 3, are placed so as to make the shape shown in the diagram. Calculate the perimeter of the shape. So the perimeter, it means if I start there, I walk all the way around the outside of the shape, what's the total distance that I've travelled? So in order to do that, you need to know the length of each part of this shape. So if I know that it's 8 from there to there, and 3 from there to there, I know that it must be 5 from there to there. And therefore it's 5 also from there to there. It's 3 from there to there. This distance, if that is 3 and that is 3, then those two together must be 6, but the total distance is 8, so that there must be 2 centimetre. Now I've got my total distance. It's going to be 8 plus 3 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus, and I know that that's 8 because it's the same as that, so it takes me to there, and then back to the start, plus 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to walk along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know I've got them all there, so I'm just going to add them up. So I've got 8, 11, 16, 18, 23, 26, 34, 42. And the units of perimeter are centimetres. And then the area of the shape is going to be, so if I call that top rectangle A, this rectangle B, and this rectangle C, then the area of A, so that top rectangle there is 8 by 3, which is 24. The area of B, now B is this smaller rectangle here now that I've chopped there, which is going to be 3 that way, and not 8 that way, but 5 that way, because it's a smaller rectangle. So it's 3 times 5, which is 15, and C is the same. It's another 3 by 5 rectangle. So the total area you get by adding those together, so you get 5 and 5 is 10, 14, 2, 3, 4, 5, 54 is the area, but this is the units question. There it is. Write down the units of your answer. The units are centimetres squared. So for that you get 1 for working out those missing sides, 1 for your method of adding, and 1 for getting 42. And for this you get 1 for your method of breaking it up and multiplying, 1 for the answer of 54, and 1 for the units. And as I've said to you in class, if you can't remember how to do that, but you know the answer for the units is centimetre squared, stick any number down and you're still going to get the unit mark. Question 6, bit of algebra. So what we've got here is a 3x and a 4x is 7x, take away 1x is 6x. Use the formula P equals 6t plus 4h to find the value of P when t is 5 and h is 9. Now the important thing to remember here is in algebra the number and the letter are joined by a times. So when you replace the t with a number, you put the times in. So it isn't going to be 6t5, it's going to be 6 times 5. It isn't going to be 4t9, it's going to be 4 times 9. Do your multiplication. 5 6s are 30, 4 9s are 36, then do your adding. So marks for that, 1 mark for that one, and for this one, 1 mark for substituting in, 1 mark for your answer. On the squared paper below, plot the points. So when you're plotting points on an XY axis, the first digit is always the X going across, so you're moving in this direction horizontally, and the Y, the second coordinate, is your vertical movement. So A is going to be 6 across and then down 5 because it's -5. And what you should do is put a cross exactly on that point and write A next to it. Don't just write A where you think it is because it's not clear. So you put a cross at the point and then write the letter next to it. So for B, -2, -4. So horizontally -2, vertically -4, cross there, write B next to it. C, -3, +3. So you're going across -3, up +3. C is there. So 3, 1 mark for each of those. Okay, so for question 8, it tells you in the question that BC is 12. Now because I've shrunk this to 2 sides to A4, that isn't 12, but you should still be able to draw, hopefully, the rest of it. So ABC is 54. Now the middle letter is where the angle is going to be formed. So B, so my angle is going to be formed there, and it's going to be a 54-degree angle. So I'm going to do a little sketch up here, just what that means. Now 54, I know, is smaller than a right angle, but bigger than 45. So I reckon it's going to look something like that. And then A is up there somewhere. Now A is 9 centimeters from B. So wherever it is up there, that is 54, and this is 9 centimeters. So that's what we're going to draw, and then that then joins up. Okay, so I know what I'm aiming for, so let's see how it goes. So the center of the protractor goes where your angle is being formed. So my angle is being formed from B, and then the 0 has to line up with the line that's already there. So that sets up my protractor. I have to measure 54 degrees. So going from 0, I'm not going to go from 0 to 350. I'm going to go from 0 to 10. So it's the blue scale that I'm following. So 50 is there. So 54 is there. So my side of my triangle is going along there somewhere, where that is 54 degrees. And then to get BA being 9 centimeters, you can just use a ruler and measure 9 centimeters. 9 centimeters is there. So A is there, so that's now what you're going to join up with C. Alright, so you don't have to stop, it just goes through, but you're marking clearly where A is. So for that, you're going to get 1 mark, what have we got? 1 mark for the 54 degrees, 1 mark for the 9 centimeters, and 1 mark for actually getting a triangle drawn. And the special name given to angles which are bigger than 180 but smaller than 360 is the reflex angle. 1 mark for that. Two litres of water are poured into an empty rectangular tank of length 25 centimeters and width 20 centimeters. The water completely fills the tank without it overflowing. Calculate the depth of the tank. Now, this is a naughty little question because they've given you the volume in litres. Okay, so they're relying on you being able to know that 1 litre is 1,000 cubic centimeters. So 2 litres is 2,000 cubic centimeters. Now volume is the height of that times 25 times 20, and you know that the volume is 2,000. 25 times 20, remember this is a non-calculator paper, so 25 times 2 is 50, and then add the naught because you multiply by 20, so it's 500. So what you have to do to get the h on its own is divide both sides by 500. So you want to know how many times 500 goes into 2000. Well, it goes into 1000 twice, so it's going to go to 2000, twice as much, 4 times. So the height of that tank, or the depth of the tank, is 4 centimeters. So that's a nasty question, because lots of you would have practiced doing the volume bit of it, but not made the link that liters, between liters and 1000 cubic centimeters. So that's quite a harsh question there. 1 mark for getting the 2 liters, and then 1 mark for the 2000 divided by divided by the 500. 1 mark for getting 500, and 1 mark for the answer. So you would have got the 1 mark just for doing the 25 times 20. Okay, question 9 is a rotational symmetry question. So it isn't mirror, it's how many times can it turn and look identical. Now you're allowed to use tracing paper in the exam, and it's easy. It makes rotational symmetry easier, because what you need to do is you want to say how many times is this going to turn and look identical. Okay, now as it is, okay, so we're going to turn it about O. If we turn it to a quarter of a turn, that arrow is going to point that way. So 1 to there, right? It doesn't look the same, but if you colour those in, it will look the same. So you need to do that to there to there. So mark it on, and then check. So that's that one, and you also need this one down here. So that is going okay. So let's try again. So now, so of order 4, it means if I turn that 4 times through 4 quarter turns, it looks identical. So there it looks identical, and there it looks identical, and there it looks identical, and one only back to the start. So that's got rotational symmetry of order 4. So make sure, if you've got that sort of question, you ask for tracing paper. It makes life easier. Now lines of symmetry, so now we're talking reflection. Now to make that reflect, you need to turn it like that, and you can see then hopefully that you've got a line of symmetry there. If you put a mirror along that line, both would be identical. For this one, you'd have it identical if you put a mirror down there, and you also have it identical if you put a mirror through the center. So there are 2 lines of symmetry on that one. Okay, so for that you get 1 mark for that one, 1 mark for that one, 1 mark for that, and 1 mark for that. Question 10, conversion graph. So these are coming up more and more frequently now. Check the scale. In this direction you're going from 0 to 20 in 10 jumps. So in this direction, 20 divided by 10 is 2. So that's going up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Here you're going to have 10 squares in 10 jumps. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So you're going to have 1 unit is each square on that one, 2 on this one. The weight on Earth is 114. This axis is weight on Earth. So you're going to go across 114 and up to 43. So 114, that's 100, that would be 110, 112, 114, and then you're going up to 43. So let's get to there. 40, 110, 12, 14, 1, 2, 3. Next one, we're going across to 85 and up 32. So there's 30, there's 80, 31, 32, and 82, 84, 85 is there. And then we're going across to 24 and up to 9. So 22, 24, and 9. So there's your dots, your crosses. Make sure when you draw the line, you can still see the points through the line. It's a conversion graph, so you can go through 0. So there's your line. So you got 1 mark for plotting the points, 1 mark for drawing the line. A rock weighs 370 newtons on Mars. Find an estimate for the weight of the rock on Earth. Well, it doesn't go up to 370, but I can get 37 off it and then multiply it by 10 to get 370. So 37 is there. Mark it on your graph, put arrows on it to show which way you're reading it. I'm reading across and then down. So 37 newtons would be 96 Earth. So times by 10, I'd have 370 newtons would be 960 newtons on Earth. Okay, so I'm just checking the mark scheme. Yeah, that would be fine. Okay, so you get your 2 marks for that. 1 mark for the method, for the strategy, which is taking 37 and then timesing it by 10, and 1 mark for the answer. Okay, question 11. In a bag there are 4 cards numbered 1, 2, 4 and 5 respectively. In bag B, 4 cards 3, 4, 6 and 7. So hopefully you're getting very familiar with questions like this now. What's the rule? It's another difference question. Okay, so it's the positive difference between these 2 numbers. So it doesn't matter if you're doing smaller take away bigger, you've still got the positive difference. Use their ones to check you know what you're doing. So 4 take away 3 is 1, 2 take away 3 is 1, and so on. You're ignoring the negative sign. So 1 take away 4 is 3, 2 take away 4 is 2, 4 take away 4 is 0, 5 take away 4 is 1. 7 take away 1 is 6, 7 take away 2 is 5, 7 take away 4 is 3, 7 take away 5 is 2. So you have 2 marks for filling in the table. Then we're going to play a game. Player wins a prize by getting a score of 2 or less. What's the probability of the player winning the prize? So it's a fraction. The number on the bottom of the fraction is the total number of possible scores. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you'll have 1 mark for the out of 16. 2 or less 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 different ways of getting 2 or less. Don't worry about cancelling it down, leave it as it is. 80 people each play the game once. Approximately how many people would you expect to win? So you have to divide. That's how many. In every group of 16 you expect 10 winners. So you want to see how many times 16 goes into 80. Well, with this one, it actually, life is easier if you make that a fraction in its simplest form, because you can divide both of those by 2 and get 5 over 8 times 80. 8 goes into 80 10 times. 5 times 10 is 50. So you would expect 50 people to win a prize. It costs 90 pence to play the game once. Prize for getting a score of 2 or less is £1.20. If the 80 people each play the game once, how much profit would you expect them to make? So money in will be 80 lots of 90 pence. Nine eights is 72, followed by 2 zeros. That's pence, which is £72. Money out, we're going to have 50 winners, each getting £1.20. Which comes to £60. 5 times 12 is 60. So for this game, it's earning £72 but paying out £60, so the profit is 72 less 60, which is £12 profit. Marks for that one. 2 marks for the 10 and 16, 2 marks for getting 50, and for part 3, 1 mark for working out either the money out or the money in, and 1 mark for getting your correct profit. So again, that question is worth 2, 4, 6, 8 marks. If you can crack that, that's a big thing to be able to get right. Comes up every year. A bucket when full of water weighs 18 kilograms. Half of the water is poured away and the bucket and water now weigh 11 kilograms. What is the weight of the empty bucket? So if you work out the difference, how much weight has been lost, $7 kilograms has gone, and that's half the water. So all the water must weigh 14 kilograms. Twice as much as half the water. So if the water weighs 14 kilograms, the bucket must weigh 18 kilograms is the bucket and the water. We know the water weighs 14, so the bucket must weigh 4. So you got 1 mark for establishing that half the water weighs 7, and then 1 mark for doubling and taking away. Angle properties, hopefully you're getting good with these. You should know it's a triangle, angles out at 180. You should know that that box there means that that's 90 degrees. So x is going to be, so you've got 90 plus 36. Is 126. So x is going to be 180, angles in the triangle, take away the 126 that we know is going to be 54 degrees, or if you want to lay it out, can't take 6 from 0, so you have to borrow 10 from the next column. 6 from 10 is 4, 2 from 7 now is 5, so it's 54 degrees. Okay, so don't be frightened of doing your adding and your subtraction like that. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so here we've got a quadrilateral. We should know that the angles inside the quadrilateral are at 360, so I can work out what that angle is there. So if I add those up first of all, eight and 7 is 15, add 5 is 20, note down carry 2, 2, 11, 16, 22. So those three angles add up to 220. 360 take away 220 is 140. So I know that that is 140. That's on a straight line. Angles on a straight line are at 180. 180 take away 140 is 40 degrees. So that angle there is 40. Marks for that. 1 mark for the method of taking those away from 180. 1 mark for the answer. And for this one, 1 mark for getting the 220. 1 mark for the method. 1 mark for the answer. Scatter graphs. Every Friday for 6 weeks, the number of customers entering a sandwich shop and the take-ins of the shop were recorded. The take-ins were recorded correct to the nearest £10. Table below shows the results. So this is saying one Friday they had 104 customers and they took £510. Different Friday they got 82 customers and took £420, and so on. Sort out the scales. Going this way, you're going 10 in 10 squares, so it's 1 square going that way, 1 per square. This way you're going 100 in 10 squares, so 10 per square. Okay, so work that out first of all, and then plotting the points are much easier. So number of customers, the number along the top is this axis, and the takings is this axis. So we're going to cross to 104 and up to 510. So get to the 500 point, and then we're going to cross 4 and up 1. 82, 420. So there's 8400, 82, 420. 120, put a little tick so you know that you've done it. 120, 590. 120, 590. 64, 320. 64, 320. 70, 340. And 118, 560. So 118 will be 2 in, 560 will be 2 in. there. So that's what your graph looks like. Right, then the type of correlation, as one gets bigger, so does the other. So it's positive correlation. Positive. Draw by eye a line of best fit, so it needs to go through your points roughly the same sort of slope. It's pretty good. Estimate the takings for a Friday when there are 90 customers. So number of customers 90. So you're going to cross there. This time you're reading up your graph, up to your line. So put the arrows on and then show that you're going across, arrows across, and read it off. So it's 410, 20, 30, about 440. About 440 pounds. Where am I? 14. Yeah, so that one's fine. Approximately how much does a customer spend on average in the sandwich shop on a Friday? Approximately how much does a customer spend on average on a Friday? So basically all you need to do is to take one pair of numbers and divide the takings by the amount. So if we take 440 and 90 customers, then if you're sort of guessing, well, 440 for 90, better still, rather than have to worry about dividing by that, because this is a non-calculator paper. If you estimate for 100 customers, it's 490. Scribble that out. So from the graph, 100 customers would be, come back to the graph, 100, 490 pounds. So one customer will be 490 divided by 100, which should be £4.90. So you're estimating £4.90, £5, but using your graph to get it. So one for how you've established it, your method, and then 1 mark for the answer. Okay. Question 15. So this is utilities build question. Pedro has just moved to live on an island in Europe. There's a choice of 2 different water companies. Manana Water, no standing charge, and you pay 0.06 euros per cubic meter that you use. Or you can use Channel Water, where every 3 months he has to pay 30 euros, regardless of how much he uses. But then there's a smaller charge per cubic meter of water used, and you get 20% off your first bill. Pedro estimates that he uses 700 cubic meters of water every 3 months. He wants to spend as little as possible on the water. Which company should Pedro buy his water from? Justify your answer by showing all possible costs. So for Manana, it's just going to cost him 700 times 0.06. Let me think of the best way of explaining what to do here, because you're not allowed to use a calculator. that is basically the same as the 100 that you're multiplying there will basically turn that to 6. So what you're actually doing is 7 times 6, which is 42 euros. Or you turn that into 6 cents, because that's what part of a euro is called. It's not being helpful by making you use euros as well, even though it's not a conversion graph. It's just, if that was pounds, you'd be happy turning that into 6 pence and doing 7 times 700 times 6 pence. So what you've got there is 42 euros. So that's how much the water costs with Manana, total bill. With Channel, it's going to cost him 700 times 0.02, which is 14 euros. But on top of that, he's got the standing charge, which is 30 euros. So that gives him a bill of 44 euros, which is more. But he does get 20% off. So Manana cheaper consistently every quarter, every 3 months, that would be cheaper, apart from first month where you've got a 20% saving. So 44 euros, 10% will be £4.40, €4.40. 20% will be €8.80 off the bill. So for the first month you won't be paying 44 euros, you'll be paying €8.80 less. Right, €8.80 less. So first month with Channel will be 44 less €8.80, which is 35 euros 20. But he'll make that back quickly. Okay, so I would say, I would suggest for long term he uses Manana. Okay, so marks for that, you're going to get 1 mark, 2 marks for the 42 euros, whichever method you've used to deal with the 0.06. 1 mark for the 2 marks for the 44 euros, and then 2 marks for dealing with the discount to get that, and then 1 mark for explaining how you would decide which is best to go for. Question 16. Express 936 as a product of its primes. So 936 is even, so you're going to divide it by 2. If you can't do that in your head, like what I can't, 2 goes into 9 4 times, remainder 1. 2 goes into 13 6 times, remainder 1, 2 goes into 16 8 times, so that's 468. 468 is even, so we can divide that by 2 again. It's going to go in 234 times, which is even. It's going to go in there 117 times, which isn't even. Now the question is, what goes into 117? You try 3. 2 definitely doesn't. 2 goes into 1, none. 2 goes into 3 goes into 1, it doesn't. Carry it over. 3 goes into 11 3 times. 3 3s are 9. Remainder 2. 3 into 27 goes 9 times. So 3 goes into that 9 times. 9 isn't prime number. 3 goes into it 3 times. Stop. All prime numbers. So we got 2 times 2 times 2 is 2 cubed, times 3 times 3 times 3 is 3 cubed. So we've got 2 cubed times 3 cubed. What have I done wrong? 2 goes into 936, 468. 2 goes into 468, 234. Ah, 39, sorry. 3 goes into 13. Sorry, that's 39 in that circle. 3 goes into 39, 13 times 13 is prime. So in index form, it's going to be that. Explain why 50 is not a perfect square number. So do the same thing now with 50. So 50, 2 goes in 25, 5 goes in 5. So 50 is 2 to the power of 1 times 5 squared. For it to be a square number, all of those powers must be even. So for a square number, all powers in index form, which is what those are, must be even numbers. So because it's 2 to the power of 1, it's not a perfect square. So one for your method, and that one for getting into index form, and one for your explanation. And then finally question 17, for vertices of a parallelogram, vertices mean the corners, lie on the sides of a triangle PQR. The sides PD, AD, so all those little dashes are equal sides. Given that that is 50 degrees, work out what x is. Okay, so this angle, which is ADP, so you write it like that, is going to be 180 less 50, which is 130. This triangle ADP is isosceles because it's got 2 equal sides. So if we take the 130 from 180 and divide by 2, it gives me that angle there. So angle APD is 25. If that's 130, those two must add up to 50, which means they must be 25 degrees each. Now let's see if I can work out that angle there, and then I've got 2 out of the 3 angles in the triangle. So if that's 50, what we've got there are parallel lines, which means that must be 50 as well. So angle BCR equals 50, so the same as ADC. Then triangle BCR is isosceles. So if I take that away from 180, I get 130. Divide 130 by 2, I get each of those. So BRC is 65. So in triangle QPR now, that's X. I know that this side is 25. I know that this side is 65. 65 plus 25 is 90. So angle X is 180, take away 90, which is 90 degrees. So for that, you get 1 mark for getting the 130, you get 1 mark for getting the 25, you get 2 marks for getting the 65, and 1 mark for the method of getting X, and 1 mark for the final answer. So that's quite a nasty geometry question to have at the back of a foundation tier paper. There you go, that one's done.